country. I'm sure you'll see amazing things as you're touring around. Anyway, back to the more serious stuff, which is that, of course, Ahmadinejad is about to blow the world up, okay? So the leaders of the free world are getting very serious about this. So they have decided Obama is going to get together with Brown and Merkel and Sarkozy. And if Ahmadinejad doesn't come around, these guys are going to record a song for peace. So you can bet your bottom dollar that this is really going to help the world and advance the cause of peace. Anyway, yeah. So in the neighbor to Iran is Iraq, right? And they just recently finished this trial of Chemical Ali, okay? As you can imagine from his name, he's the guy who gassed all these Kurds, among others. And of course, they're going to bring him to, they're going to put him to death, okay? And how are they going to kill this guy? They're going to hang him. I mean, don't they have a sense of humor? Could they do something a little more appropriate? Hang him? Anyway, yeah. And of course, over in Egypt, they came up with a new discovery, right? That the pyramids weren't built by slaves, of course. They were really built by free labor, okay? Of course, how were these guys paid for? But of course, a pyramid scheme. This part of the world, yeah, okay. Anyway, so we move across right to America, okay, where, I'm sorry, he's the leader of the free world, you know, what are you going to do? So his wife, Michelle, has got a new program. It's called Let's Move, okay, you know, because the obesity of American children, okay. So this program lasted about 6 hours when she got about, I don't know, 200 million emails that said, let's not, you know, I mean, forget it, it's not going to happen, no one's going to listen to Michelle. And of course, it's Black History Month in America, and of course, so who does Obama invite to perform at the White House? Come on, Bob Dylan, right? When you think of Black history, don't you think of an old Jewish white guy who mumbles from Minnesota? I mean, isn't that the Black History Month? Yeah, so anyway, the Dalai Lama was there just yesterday, okay? So, and you know, the Chinese weren't so happy about that. So, you know, they said, you better watch it or we're going to stop sending you those poisonous lead toys, you know. I mean, they're really serious. They're not happy about him visiting. And of course, it was a massive, you guys left before the massive snowstorm hit the East Coast? Oh, you were there. They hadn't seen such a snow job in Washington since the last stimulus package. I mean, it was just awesome. I mean, and look, on the plus side, the congressman finally got to spend some quality time with their mistresses. But I mean, for the rest of us, it was just really horrible. Okay, you know. And then of course, the week before that, this is the really interesting part. The week before that, the Saints won the Super Bowl. Okay, and the general feeling was that the Saints wouldn't win the Super Bowl until hell froze over. And sure enough, they won it. I mean, it happened, right? Of course, my cousin was at the Super Bowl, and he had a big gamble, right? He tailgated in a Toyota. But he survived that one, and it was really an okay time. And well, America's great. Right? Last week was a president's birthday, president's holiday. I don't know. America's just such an amazing place. Okay, you know, I don't have to tell you guys, but you know, you take a bunch of presidents' birthdays and not good, and you make it on the second Monday in February, and what does it become? The day for you to buy a mattress. I mean, this is it. You weren't there, but a mattress, we got it out the door. Yeah, you know, and it's pretty funny because I Twitter also, and people pick up on it and they subscribe to me. But the day I put that joke in, you know, how many mattress vendors there out there? You know, can't get enough of that mattress humor. Anyway, right. At the same time, of course, last week there was a big brouhaha with Sarah Palin. Nobody's friend here. I could. So, you know, she reads her palm. She reads palms in general, right? So she read her palm. That's what she's good for. So, also, of course, in the last 2 weeks, we've had the Olympics, right? So, they had a lot of coverage of the biathlon, you know, where you cross-country ski and shoot, you know, or what Sarah Palin calls commuting, you know. I mean, there's just a ton of it, you know. But it really hasn't been so bad. I mean, here, in less than 2 weeks, they've given out 250 medals, you know. And, you know, like on American Idol, it takes them 36 weeks to agree on one karaoke singer, you know what I mean? At least they're handing out the gold and everything. Of course, there is now a count in our over computerized age of who's gotten the most last place finishes, right? Of course, and of course it's not even Canada. Canada's in Poland, we've gotten the last count. So for the Poles, we don't mind making jokes that Poland's expensive. But there's been a lot of skiing, a lot of skating, and snowboarding. I mean, it doesn't even look like the Olympics. It looks more like someone's home movie. I mean, it's just really too much. Have you guys ever seen curling? You know what curling is? It's not the Norwegian sport where you push a guy's car out onto the ice. Yeah, okay, no, it's not curling. It's curling. Curling is where you take this 40-pound block of granite, right, and you hurl it down a ice path, and you sweep in front of it. I mean, it's got all the dynamics of shuffleboard with housework. I mean, it makes bowling look like wrestling. I mean, it's just the most. Whatever, And of course, the Olympics are having their own problems. 3 male figure skaters have been tested positive for fabulous. It's been a real problem all over the place. Anyway, that's the world out there. Recently, my wife just traveled on the Airlines, and she went to America to be with her father for his 80th birthday. And so when she checks in, she had a complicated itinerary, right? So she says, well, I want this one bag to go to New York, one bag to Chicago, and then I threw her on to Milwaukee, where she was going. And the agent says, 3 bags in 3 cities? We can't do that. And of course my wife says, well, the last time I traveled, you did, and it was, and I didn't know how bad it is, but in America now, you get on this plane and they just x-ray everybody, revealing x-rays. I know, there might be a prurient aspect to it, but I don't know if you've seen Americans of late, and it's really not a very pretty sight to watch these Americans. And of course, the FAA says, well, nobody's complaining. Have you ever complained to a security personnel at the airport? You get a full-blown colonoscopy and you're on a terrorist for the rest of your life. Who's going to complain to the guys at the airport? What sort of measuring is that?
This guy's very funny.
Yeah, anyway, but she went to Milwaukee and she did a lot of shopping. She loves to shop. My wife is a black belt in shopping. The more you shop, the more you save. Anything that's marked down, she buys. She came home with an escalator one day, and it's just, I like, whenever we walk, I hold hands, I thought she's getting shocked, I mean, it's just really too much, and while she was away, for 3 stores in Rehoboth closed, I mean, this was serious business, and, but actually, we get along, we have this, the secret to our marriage of almost 27 years, is that we go out twice a week for a quiet dinner with some wine. She goes out on Tuesday, I go out on Thursday. That's really going to make it. And then actually, we had an anniversary recently, and so I said to her, well, would you like a trip up north for an anniversary present? She said, no. I said, I don't know, a house in the country, a new car. So I said to her, what do you want for our anniversary? So she says to me, well, how about a divorce? Well, I wasn't ready to spend that much, Anyway, no, my wife's great. I said to her, well, where do you want to go for our anniversary? And she said, well, how about someplace we've never been? She said, how about someplace I've never been? And I said, okay, well, how about the kitchen? Yeah, anyway, now many of these are Henny Youngman jokes, but it's okay. And my wife is about to press the down key on the computer. She's having such a good time. Okay, good. Okay, anyway, right. So the problem is, the problem is that I take my wife everywhere, but she finds her way back, as you see. And right, so we went to the hotel where we spent our honeymoon. Of course, I spent the whole night in the room, in the bathroom, crying, but we had a great time otherwise. At the hotel, they had this waterbed ride. She says, "Oh no, the Dead Sea." That was the kind of anyway.